we haven't looked.
figured
Let
you'd
the
have
clock
a
line
clock
down.
No, I
So
didn't.
just
There
make
is an
sure-
I don't
outlet
have a
for it
problem.
though, but I don't think it's for those, it'd be like for a regular camera.
Okay.
Just make sure you're in front of them good, and then what will happen is, because we can't take calls into this, we put out there that they have to call into the city clerk's office, leave their name and number, and we can call out on this to the person that's calling.
Okay.
That's how it's gonna have to work, because this does not receive incoming, we can call
Okay,
out.
you're live now.
Okay,
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Aaron.
I don't think it's quite 6:30, is it?
No.
We'll start it before.
But that way people can get on there, that need to, those that
Yeah,
are.
sure wore the suit today.
Did you go in?
Wore jeans today. The doors are locked now.
They're just doing drive-through?
Drive-through mortgages.
Take past that, no, that should.
My brother did drive through workers today.
Take past that.
They didn't pass it, yeah.
No, when they
Oh,
are,
yeah, it should
I
have.
thought they were gonna give us a breakdown mortgages.
they are.
They cut everything else.
You can always pay even if they tell you you don't have
Well,
to.
I know.
I've never seen, you know, I mean, you could understand the financial crisis from the standpoint of
Well, you got,
the bank, you know, if the banks that were solvent with credit swaps and that, you know, that's like a bet, like, you know, you and I bet $50,000 on the Super Bowl and you win, but if I don't have $50,000 to pay you, what the hell good is your, you know, when we were dealing with the credit swaps and that, the solvent institutions were solvent because they were on the right side of the credit swaps. The bad institutions were on the wrong side, but even the people who are on the right side, if the other side can't pay, you know, it doesn't do you any good.
When you become an Orbeez owner.
Yeah, but this thing is, you know, when people, literally, they're not working, you know, that doesn't take long to trickle through the economy.
You ready now?
okay. I call the, Oglesby City Council special meeting to order.
Augenright,
Here.
Cullinan,
Here.
Curran,
Here.
Mieski. Here. Rivara.
Here. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments on agenda items only. Hearing none.
Yeah, how long do we have to wait to move on?
Well, hopefully I'll wait long enough. Approve ordinance 1110-033020, and ordinance amending ordinance 1093-120219, entitled an ordinance establishing the terms of employment, including the wage structure for the chief of police. I need a motion and a second.
I'd make a motion to approve ordinance 1110-033020 and ordinance amending ordinance 1093-120219, entitled an ordinance establishing the terms of employment, including the wage structure for the chief of police.
You know, this is my fault, I apologize. Yeah, this is my fault, I apologize. I think that has to be on file for one, we put that on file.
Put it on
Oh, I'm
file.
sorry, I'm goofing Monday up with Tuesday, I'm sorry.
I'll second that motion.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, my fault.
Okay. Augenright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Mieski.
Aye.
Rivara.
Aye.
I apologize.
Approve ordinance 1112-033020 pertaining to local state of emergency.
Now, before we do this, I just want to make sure so we're clear for the record. As everyone is aware, certain ordinances under the Commission Form of Government have to be on file for 1 week before they're adopted. I have always construed that statute liberally because I figured, you know, if I let something on file for a week that doesn't have to be, so what? You know, what's the big deal? If I misinterpret something, that's a problem because the ordinance may not be valid. After this ordinance was placed on file, when were we gonna place this ordinance on file last Tuesday? Because it was adopted on that same date by Peru, LaSalle, Spring Valley, and Utica. I know one resident came up to Amy and said, why do we have to place this on file? It's not, it's not making a contract, it's not appropriating money. If you look at the ordinance, and I think there was a legitimate argument that this did not have to be placed on file. I interpreted it very narrowly because there were provisions in here like number 10, authorizing the mayor to enter into temporary agreements with the bargaining units. You know, I mean, if we needed to do something, to change the terms of a bargaining unit during the period of emergency. So I thought it should be placed on file. The problem that came up, we had an incident last week where the mayor asked me whether he had authority to take certain action, and I said, not until we adopt this ordinance. So I thought about it some more, and I've come to the conclusion that since the purpose of the ordinance is to authorize the declaration of a state of emergency, the ordinance itself doesn't grant any of those powers, unless the state of emergency is declared. And I didn't want to have Oglesby be forced to wait until next Monday, which is when we were originally going to do this, in case something occurs, because this situation is fluid. I mean, it's changing on the fly right now. So I suggested, when the mayor called me, I said, well, let's just do it on Monday. Let's do an emergency meeting for Monday. I could have waited till tomorrow, and then we would have been 7 days, but I really didn't want to wait because things were changing so quickly. So I want to explain that in case anybody's wondering or looks at it and says, well, wait a minute, you did this last Tuesday, now you're adopting it on Monday, that's not a week. I'm changing my interpretation of, I don't think it had to be placed on file in the first place. I think I was overly narrowly construing that section of the statute. So I kind of want to explain that.
And this pandemic is changing on a minute-by-minute basis, not on a day-by-day. As you said, it's very
That's why I
fluid.
didn't really want to wait until, I don't know what may happen tomorrow if I get a call.
Right.
You need a motion.
So-
Anything else, any other discussion on it?
So I would make a motion to approve ordinance 1112-033020 pertaining to local state of emergency.
I'll second that.
Augenright,
Aye.
Cullinan, Curran,
Aye.
Mieski,
Aye.
Rivara,
Aye. Discuss and implement emergency policy regarding employee vacation requests and employee staffing. Basically, what we've got here is some of our employees had scheduled trips planned. Because of the virus and people not being able to travel, it seemed the right thing to do is leave them carry over their vacation and not penalize them because of this situation that we're in here tonight.
And it's not just that they're not able to travel, which is very much true, but they could very well be needed because they are healthcare workers or first responders or that sort of thing. We do not want to leave our city short at this point in time.
So the public understands we have a rule that you can only carry forward 7 vacation days. And if we don't do something, like if someone had a vacation in April that got canceled, Easter, kids, we thought then would be off of school, they would lose those vacation days. And so what we're talking about is just as long as everybody's in agreement, for this time only, if you had a vacation scheduled in April, we'll let you carry the days, the days into next year.
Do you want to vote on it, or?
Yes.
We probably should.
My officers also have holidays.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
just not vacations, holidays also, that they don't have them all in. So that's, I would like to get them to be able to carry those over if it's all possible, so they don't lose anything.
This is a state of emergency.
So,
And this is not a,
Right.
gee, we planned poorly.
No.
This is truly a
So,
state of
I just want anybody to lose
emergency
anything.
pandemic.
So my guys do have some holidays left that I would like to see them not lose if it's at all possible.
I think that's a fair
Yeah.
request.
Oh,
Yeah.
it should be all.
All
do it
city
one way.
employees.
It makes sense, but because it's not on there as an item to approve, is this something that would fit into the state of
Yes.
emergency that the mayor can just
Yeah.
extend then? It's
That's
just
what I'm
be done?
thinking.
So since the ordinance approved that as
Right.
part of it.
So the mayor can make that decision.
Yes, now I do
Right.
wanna make it clear that if you look at this state of emergency ordinance, if the mayor declares a state of emergency, it's only good for no longer than 7 days or the next regularly scheduled council meeting, whichever occurs first. So, but I think we can just, whether we do it at our next meeting, as long as everybody understands that this is what we're gonna do and nobody's gonna be penalized, I think that's good enough to avoid, an Open Meetings Act issue.
And so Jim, would the mayor be able to do that then on a every 2-week basis from regular meeting to regular meeting, continue to declare a state of emergency?
No, because it's only good for one,
One
it's
time.
only good for, what the concept is, if we had to declare a state of emergency, we would have to get the council together within 7 days, unless we declared a state of emergency tonight, and next Monday was a regular council meeting. So it has to be, within 7 days or the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
I thought I read something that just the mayor and one other commissioner he just needs one commissioner to be able to say,
Yeah.
to declare the state of emergency. So you're saying that can only go for a period of time, it can't be extended?
It can be extended, but it's only gonna be good for seven.
Or it has to be brought up at the next meeting?
Yeah.
At the
Okay.
next
Yeah.
meeting.
What you would do, let's say,
Fine.
let's say something happened tomorrow that none of us expect, and the mayor was forced to declare a state of emergency. We have to get the council together by next Tuesday. Now, if in fact there was, and it's not the case because this is a 5-Monday month, but if next Monday was a regular meeting, then we would, the state of emergency would only go until next Monday. Since we don't meet again until April 6th, our regular scheduled meeting, that state of emergency, if it was declared tomorrow, is only good until next Tuesday. We would have to get the council together next, on or before next Tuesday, or it expires.
What happens in the event that the emergency is so great that we can't do that? Can it continue to be extended?
I suppose it could, we haven't really,
That's what I'm saying, I don't see anything here that says it can't.
I suppose it
Don't we
could.
have a meeting next Monday?
You have time for the holidays, so I don't think that's a big deal. You have the whole month of April, so you can get that under an ordinance, another ordinance.
I just wanna make sure is that, because we'll just put it on the agenda for the first meeting in April, that they, and if anybody's holidays come up before then, I think you know the consensus of the council.
All right.
We need a motion and second.
Yeah, I would say.
We need a motion and second on the vacation and holidays.
Well, we're gonna write it as an ordinance after this though?
No, we're not gonna
Oh,
do
okay.
ours, we're just gonna say that's how we're gonna interpret
Okay.
our union contract.
I'll motion to interpret that holiday pay.
I'll second that. Augubright,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Mieski,
Aye.
Rivara.
Aye. Public comments?
The only other thing I would mention is, and I
I've
don't,
got a list, but I'm gonna.
oh, I'm sorry, okay, go ahead. I'm just gonna say what you're.
Being that the governor's orders goes to the 7th, I think we should move our first council meeting in April to the 8th, whether we have to, so we can keep, if he relaxes it, we can have a normal council meeting. If not, we'll have one like this again. That
Close
makes
to the
sense?
public.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
it
just
just,
close to the
just
public.
it just won't be open to the public, we'll live stream it, and,
I'm just thinking that otherwise you're gonna be live streaming on the sixth, which is your regular meeting.
Right.
Because we're still gonna be under the governor's order until the seventh.
All right.
So I just suggested make it the eighth, and hopefully it won't be extended. If it is, we'll have to do what we're doing tonight.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so we'll do it on the eighth.
We should probably have a motion and second.
I'll motion to have the city council meeting on the 8th of April.
I'll second that.
Augubright,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Mieski,
Aye.
Rivara.
Aye. The next thing I'd like to put forward is to postpone the water rate increase for 30 days. We've got people losing jobs. I don't know where it's gonna be. We can take another look at it in 30 days to initiate the increase.
I'm for that, definitely. Do we motion that too?
Yeah, I would do a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion to not raise water rates for,
To delay.
to delay the raise in water rates for 30 days.
I'll second that.
Augubright,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Mieski,
Aye.
Rivara.
Aye. The next thing I got is I had Scott Schweigert has agreed to represent the city in its disagreement with St. Margaret's. That's about them using the medical facility on Walnut Street as a testing center. To date, St. Margaret's has not started testing there.
They cannot.
They cannot?
They cannot. So the testing was up, the drive-through testing was up for 1 day or 2 days, and it's down from directions from the state. The only places that are testing would be for those people who are hospitalized or those people that are cohorted together, such as in nursing homes, clustered. So if you were sick and having symptoms, we can swab you for a respiratory array, but we cannot swab you for the COVID-19. That has to come through the state, and the state is not allowing anybody to have it unless you're hospitalized or in a nursing home. So they closed it down, up for a day and down.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me,
Let's save the city some money.
yeah. Let me explain to you a second why that is. I am on the board at St. Margaret's Hospital, and I've also done some, I don't do a great deal, but I've done some legal work for them. So I'd have a conflict if this thing became a dispute. I couldn't represent St. Margaret's against Oglesby, I couldn't represent Oglesby against St. Margaret's. And the conflict applies to my entire firm, it's not just, it applies to me, it applies to everybody in the firm. So I had, Scott said that if we needed any, if anything had to be done further legally, that he could help the city doing that. I called him and said, I can't, so he agreed. You may want to make a motion second, to make sure that's okay.
I move that we utilize Scott Schweikert as our attorney versus St. Margaret's if we need to move forward with any action.
I'll second that.
Augubright,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Mieski,
Aye.
Rivara.
Aye. Just to mention, the city clerk's office, he's staffed Monday through Friday, 8 AM to 12. We will have the lobby doors open for drop-off for the pantry. And we'll probably have to make some adjustments as we work our way through this thing. And the last thing I had is, we had talked about a recycle program this spring. Due to the virus, that isn't gonna happen. We gotta get through this virus first, and we probably have to, if we're gonna do anything, we'll do it in the fall. I don't have anything else, I'll entertain a motion second to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
Augubright,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye.
Mieski,
Aye.
Rivara.
Aye, thank you.
Good evening.
call.